The rain had not stopped for 30 days. It fell over the kingdom of Evermist like a silver curtain, washing away colors from fields, villages, and forests. Rivers overflowed their banks, roads disappeared beneath mud, and people whispered fearful rumors by candlelight. Some said the rain was cursed, others claimed the sky itself was grieving. But no one knew the truth. Far away from the capital, in a small village called Willowbrook, a 16-year-old boy named Ethan lived with his grandmother in a cottage beside the forest. Ethan was not a knight. He was not a prince. He had no magical powers. What he did possess was curiosity, a trait that often got him into trouble. Every evening, his grandmother would light an old brass lantern and place it near the window. "Why do you always light that lantern?" Ethan asked one stormy night. His grandmother smiled. "Because one day, someone may need its light." Ethan had heard that answer 100 times. It never made sense. Still, he said nothing. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. As he prepared for bed, a sudden knock echoed. Through the cottage, 3 sharp knocks. His grandmother looked surprised. "No. One travels in weather like this." Ethan opened the door. A hooded traveler stood in the rain. Water dripped from his cloak. His face was pale and tired. "May I come in?" he asked. "Of course," Ethan replied. The traveler entered and warmed himself near the fire. After a few moments, he removed a leather pouch from beneath his cloak. Inside was a strange crystal glowing with blue light. "Have traveled from the capital," he said. "The king is dying." Ethan's grandmother froze. "The prophecy has begun." The traveler nodded. Ethan looked from one to the other. "What prophecy?" Neither answered immediately. Finally, the traveler spoke. Long ago, a magical flame known as the Heartfire protected Evermist. It kept balance between sky and earth. But centuries ago, the flame was hidden inside the Mountain of Shadows. The royal family guarded its secret. The prophecy says that when endless rain falls and darkness spreads across the kingdom, the Heartfire must be awakened by the keeper of the last lantern. The traveler looked directly at Ethan's grandmother. "You are the keeper." Ethan stared. His grandmother sighed. "I was hoping this day would never come." The old lantern on the window suddenly glowed brighter. The brass surface shimmered. Ancient symbols appeared across its frame. Ethan stepped backward. "What is happening?" His grandmother placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "The lantern has chosen its next guardian." The light grew stronger. A beam emerged and pointed toward the forest, toward the distant mountains, toward destiny. The next morning, Ethan stood at the edge of Willowbrook with a backpack, a cloak, and the mysterious lantern. His grandmother embraced him. "You must follow the lantern. I don't know how. You will. What if I fail?" She smiled. "Then learn and continue." The traveler handed Ethan a map. The Mountain of Shadows lies beyond 3 lands: the Whispering Forest, the Crystal Desert, and the Valley of Giants. Ethan swallowed nervously. "That sounds impossible." "It probably is," the traveler said, "which means you're the right person." Before Ethan could ask what that meant, they wished him luck. Then he began walking. The Whispering Forest lived up to its name. Every tree seemed alive. Leaves rustled even when no wind blew. Strange voices drifted between branches. At first, Ethan thought people were speaking. Then he realized the forest itself was whispering. As darkness approached, he searched for shelter. Eventually, he discovered an abandoned stone tower. The roof remained intact. Perfect. After building a small fire, he settled inside. Hours later, he woke to a growling sound. Yellow eyes glowed in the darkness. Wolves, a dozen of them. They circled the tower entrance. Ethan's heart pounded. The wolves crept closer. Suddenly, the lantern began glowing. Golden light spread across the clearing. The wolves stopped. Their growls vanished, one by one. They retreated into the forest. Ethan exhaled. "Thank you," he whispered to the lantern. The light pulsed softly, almost like a response. 3 days later, Ethan met a girl about his age near a forest stream. She carried a bow and wore green leather armor. When she spotted him, she immediately aimed an arrow. "Who are you?" "Ethan, what are you doing here?" "Trying not to get shot." She lowered the bow slightly. Fair answer. Her name was Arya. She lived among forest rangers who protected travelers from monsters. After hearing about Ethan's mission, she laughed. You? Saving the kingdom? That's what everyone keeps saying. And you're doing it? I suppose. Arya studied him. You look terrified. I am terrified. She smiled. Good. Fear keeps people alive. To Ethan's surprise, she decided to join him. Someone needed to ensure he survived the journey. Together they crossed the remainder of the forest. Eventually, the trees ended. Ahead stretched an endless sea of white sand. The crystal desert. Unlike ordinary sand, these crystals sparkled beneath cloudy skies. The landscape looked beautiful and dangerous. On the second day, a sandstorm appeared. Massive walls of glittering crystals rose into the air. Arya shouted over the wind, "We need shelter." "I don't see any." The storm moved closer. Visibility vanished. Sharp crystal fragments cut through the air. Ethan shielded his face. Then, the lantern glowed again. Beam of light revealed a hidden cave nearby. They rushed inside seconds before the storm struck. For hours they waited. Finally, silence returned. Arya stared at the lantern. That thing is useful. It seems smarter than me. Not difficult. Ethan rolled his eyes. For the first time in days, they laughed. Several days later, they encountered another traveler, a giant man wearing heavy armor. His beard reached his chest. A massive hammer rested across his back. "My name is Bram," he announced. "Who are you?" "Ethan," Arya. Bram nodded. "Excellent." "Excellent what?" Ethan asked. "I've been looking for companions." "Why?" Bram grinned. "Adventure." It turned out Bram had once served in the king's army. When he heard rumors about the prophecy, he left retirement behind. Within an hour, he had joined their group. The journey suddenly felt less lonely. The Valley of Giants proved more dangerous than anything before. Enormous stone statues covered the landscape. Many stood hundreds of feet tall. Their faces appeared ancient and sorrowful. According to legends, they were once living guardians. Now they remained frozen in stone. At least, that was the legend. On the third night in the valley, the ground shook. One of the statues moved. Its eyes opened. Blue fire burned inside them. Ethan froze. The giant rose from its pedestal. The earth trembled beneath its feet. "Who dares approach the mountain of shadows?" The giant thundered. Bram gripped his hammer. Arya reached for her bow. Ethan stepped forward. "We seek the Heartfire." The giant studied him. "And why should mortals possess such power?" "Because the kingdom is dying." The giant remained silent. Then it spoke again. "What is stronger than strength?" Ethan blinked. "A riddle?" The giant nodded. Arya whispered, "Just answer." Ethan thought carefully. "What is stronger than strength? Not muscles, not weapons, not magic." Then he remembered his grandmother's words. Kindness. The giant's fiery eyes brightened. "Correct." It stepped aside. "The path is open." Before returning to stone, the giant added one final sentence. "The greatest light comes from those who share it." Beyond the valley stood the mountain of shadows. Dark, clouds spiraled above its peak. Lightning flashed continuously. The entrance resembled a giant mouth carved into black stone. Ethan felt small, standing before it. "Ready?" Arya asked. "No." "Good." Bram laughed. "Let's go anyway." Inside, tunnels twisted deep underground. Symbols covered walls. Ancient doors blocked pathways. Each challenge tested wisdom rather than strength. One door opened only when they admitted their greatest fears. Another required cooperation. A third demanded sacrifice. Hours later, exhausted and bruised, they finally reached a massive chamber. At its center floated a sphere of fire. The Heartfire. Its golden flames illuminated the darkness. For a moment, Ethan forgot to breathe. It was beautiful. Then a voice echoed behind them. At last, a man emerged from the shadows. Tall, elegant, dangerous. His eyes glowed crimson. "Thank you for finding it." Arya raised her bow. "Who are you?" The stranger smiled. "I am Malric." The name sent chills through the chamber. Malric was a sorcerer from ancient legends. Everyone believed he had died centuries ago. Apparently, they were wrong. I created the endless rain, he said calmly. The kingdom worshipped balance. I prefer control. He extended his hand toward the heartfire. Dark energy erupted from his fingertips. Bram charged Malric, blasted him across the room. Arya fired arrows. They turned to ash before reaching him. Ethan felt hopeless. The sorcerer was too powerful. Malric laughed. Heroes always arrive too late. The heartfire began drifting toward him. Darkness spread across the chamber. The flames weakened. Thunder shook the mountain outside. The storm intensified. Ethan looked down at the lantern. Its light had nearly vanished. Then he remembered the giant's words. The greatest light comes from those who share it. Share it. Suddenly, he understood. The lantern was never meant to belong to one person. It existed to unite others. Ethan, Arya shouted, "Do something!" He raised the lantern. Golden light burst outward. The chamber filled with warmth. The light touched Arya, then Bram, then the heartfire. Their courage, hope, and determination merged together. The lantern grew brighter than the sun. Malric screamed. Darkness retreated. The heartfire blazed with renewed strength. A wave of golden fire swept through the chamber. Malric tried to resist. He felt the darkness surrounding him shattered. Within seconds, he vanished. Gone. Silence followed. The storm outside stopped. The endless rain ended. For the first time in months, sunlight touched Evermist. When Ethan awoke, he found himself outside the mountain. Birds sang overhead. Blue skies stretched across the horizon. Arya sat nearby. Bram was cooking breakfast. You survived, Arya said. So did you. Obviously. Ethan laughed. The lantern rested beside him. Its glow had become gentle once more. What happened? The heartfire returned to balance, Bram explained. The kingdom is saved. Ethan looked toward the sky. After everything, the journey was finally over. Or so he thought. Their return to the capital became a celebration. Villages cheered as they passed. Flowers lined roads. Children waved. By the time they reached the city, thousands of people waited. The king, though weak, had recovered. Enough to stand, he welcomed them personally. You have accomplished what armies could not. Ethan bowed. Awkwardly. I had help. The king smiled. The best victories always involve help. For their bravery, Arya became captain of the Royal Rangers. Bram accepted a position training young knights. As for Ethan, everyone expected him to become a hero, a legend, perhaps even an advisor to the king. Instead, he returned home, back to Willowbrook, back to the small cottage beside the forest. His grandmother greeted him at the door. I knew you'd return. You always know everything. Not everything. She pointed toward the lantern. What did you learn? Ethan considered the question. He had crossed forests, survived deserts, faced giants and sorcerers. Yet the answer felt simple. Light isn't about power. His grandmother nodded. What is it about? It's about giving others hope. A proud smile appeared on her face. Exactly. That evening, they placed the lantern in its usual spot beside the window, the same place it had always stood, the same place where it would remain for future generations. Outside, stars filled the sky. The kingdom of Evermist slept peacefully. Far away, rivers flowed calmly, fields turned green once more, life returned. And whenever travelers passed through Willowbrook, they often noticed a warm golden light shining from a cottage window. Many wondered why it was always there. No, one knew the full story, but some believed it was a reminder. A reminder that even in the darkest times, a single light can guide the way, and when that light is shared, it becomes strong enough to change the world.